Can you use ChatGPT to write Gatling scripts? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I recently made a video about how software engineers can leverage ChatGPT. As part of that video, I had ChatGPT generate a simple Gatling script. To be honest, I was pretty surprised that ChatGPT was able to generate anything in Gatling. It's not like Gatling is that widely used in the whole software development space. But yeah, to be fair, it generated a pretty decent script, albeit with a couple of errors. However, the prompt that I gave it to generate the script was really basic. I didn't really go into any detail for what I wanted at all. I just literally said generate a script against this site. So it got me thinking. If I gave ChatGPT more detailed prompts, would it give me a more accurate Gatling script? Like if I told it to do more advanced stuff like handle multiple load simulations or use a CSV file for test data or use parameterization in the script, could ChatGPT handle that? Well, spoiler alert. The answer is yes, it can. And so much more than that as well. This is pretty incredible. You can literally tell ChatGPT what you want your Gatling script to do just in plain English, and it will go away and generate a script for you. Now, just to caveat, you need to know performance testing fundamentals. You need to basically know what it is that you're asking for. And the code that it spits out isn't always perfect either. So you might have to make the odd modification, or you might have to change things around, and there might even be the odd mistake in there as well. So do be aware of that. But having some code to start with and having pointers on how to do certain things like handle test data or add looping to your Gatling script, using ChatGPT is a great place to start. So I would still very much learn the fundamentals of Gatling script creation, but I would use ChatGPT as your personal assistant, as something that can work side by side with you to help you create your scripts. And after all, that's what it's really designed for. It's not designed to replace you, it's designed to work side by side with you to help and to assist you. But anyway, with all that out the way, let's look at a few different ways that we can use ChatGPT to generate Gatling scripts. So I'm here on the ChatGPT website. Before we get started with actual Gatling script creation, let's brainstorm a few different ways that we can actually learn more about Gatling. Brainstorm 10 ideas about how to learn Gatling. And we're going to get some ideas back, so it's going to get pretty generic responses. Attend the Gatling training course, read the Gatling documentation, staying up to date. So pretty generic advice. Okay, that's all well and good, but I know you didn't come here for ideas just about how to learn Gatling. You want ChatGPT to generate your Gatling scripts for you. So let's have a look at how we can do that now. So let's first look at how we can use ChatGPT to generate a Gatling script for us. That's probably the most common use case. So to start with, I'm just going to use my demo application. So I'm going to use this videogamedb.uk application. Again, this is just a really simple API application that I own. It's got a few different REST endpoints and it's running in a read-only mode, so none of the data on the back end can be changed. So back in ChatGPT, the prompt that I'm going to give it is write me a Gatling script that makes 3 simple API calls against the videogamedb application. So it's making a start now and generating our script. And just to call out the script that's being generated, looks like it's being generated with the Scala version of Gatling. So that's interesting. That's something for us to bear in mind. Okay, so it's given us a script. So it's given us the protocol at the top, the scenario, and the setup block. Just having a look at the endpoints that it's calling here, I don't think that these are correct. So if I look at my endpoints here, I can see I need to call API v2 video game. But the endpoints that it's using here are just /game, /1, platform, Nintendo. So again, I don't think that these calls would actually work. So you'd have to go into this script and actually modify it to the correct endpoints if you wanted this script to work. But it's given us a good starting place for our script. So let's try again, but this time let's add a bit more complexity to our script. We're going to ask ChatGPT to give us a CSV file for our test data. And I'm also going to ask it to create 2 different load simulations, and I'm going to want those to run simultaneously or at the same time. I'll also ask those to have different ramp durations as well and see what it comes back with. So my prompt is going to look like this. I'm going to ask for a Gatling script against the same application. Script should use a CSV file for test data. The script should have 2 concurrent load simulations, one that ramps from 1 to 100 users over 60 seconds, and another that runs continuously for 10 users over a period of 2 minutes. Let's see what comes back. Okay, so it's given us a script back and it looks like it's done everything that we've asked for. So it's given us this CSV file here, we can see at the top. It's also given us a couple of different scenarios, so one that's ramping from 1 to 100 users, and one that's running continuously with 10 users over a period of 2 minutes. So that's pretty cool. If we scroll down, it's also given us a good explanation of what it's written in our script, and it's also even called out at the bottom that we would need to change the endpoint and parameters accordingly based on the API documentation. So it's actually recognized that the endpoint is wrong, but it's actually told us that, and it's told us that we could go and look at the documentation to change that. Okay, let's try one more script now, and let's add even more complexity this time. So this time I want it to call against a completely different application. So for this, I'm just going to use the BBC News website. I'm going to ask for multiple simulations again, but this time I'm going to ask for the simulations to run sequentially, i.e. one after the other. I'm also going to see if ChatGPT can handle environment variables in our Gatling script. So these are variables that you would put in at runtime. So for example, like the number of users or the test duration, etc. And those variables would then be substituted into our script. Finally, I'll also ask it to do a couple of different checks. So I'm going to ask it to check for 404 errors as well. I'm just going to ask it to check for some random text on the page. So for example, hello world. Okay, so this is what our prompt looks like this time. So it's a lot more detailed and it's everything that we just discussed. Okay, so let's take a look at the script that it's generated. Okay, so it's given us our script here. So let's have a look through it. So if I look at the import statements at the top, I can see it's made the same import statement twice. So that's something to be aware of there. We can see it's got the CSV file here again, and it's doing what we asked for as well with the environment variables as well, so that's really cool. Then we've got our two scenarios here. We can see it's checking again for the 404, it's checking for certain string in the response body as well. We've got our setup block here as well for the simulations. Now we did ask these to run sequentially. That doesn't look like they will run sequentially. I think these will run together. So that's just something to bear in mind there as well. But come on, this is pretty cool. Like, that's a pretty cool start, and that's a pretty good Gatling script to get started with. Yes, you need to make some modifications with it, but hopefully you can see there how quickly you can get a script off the ground. And there's lots of other things that you could ask for here as well. So if you wanted to, I don't know, only do logic on when there's a certain condition met, or if you wanted to loop in your script, you could add all of that as well. So a cool thing to do would be to probably go through the Gatling documentation, have a look at some of the different commands that you could use, and then filter those in and put those into your ChatGPT prompts and get it to write the script for you. So it's really cool. So another common use case that you might want to consider with ChatGPT and Gatling is getting it to add comments to your script and also to ask it to make it more readable. So my prompt this time is going to be, can you make the Gatling code from the above answer easier to read, highlight the changes that you made, and also add comments to the code. Let's see what it comes back with. So ChatGPT is struggling a bit here. It seems to be timing out a lot, I guess just because the system is so busy. But if we look at the answer that's come back, we can see that it's gone through and it has added comments on pretty much every line, just explaining what it's doing. So again, this is a really good use case to go and add in more comments to your script. Now, if you're in a situation where you don't have the Gatling code in a previous ChatGPT response, you can just give it the Gatling code again and just ask it to put the comments into that. So let's see how to do that. So I've opened a new chat window here, and the prompt I've added is, can you add comments to this Gatling code to make it more readable? And I'm just going to paste in a bunch of Gatling code. So this is just an example script from one of my training courses. And it's come back with a script with comments added, so that's really cool. So far we've only been seeing the Scala version of Gatling getting used in ChatGPT. So as you might know, Gatling recently released a Java version for their tool, and I thought it'd be awesome if we could see if ChatGPT could convert our Scala Gatling script into a Java one. So let's try that out now. So the prompts I'm giving it this time is, can you rewrite the Gatling code from the previous answer in the Java version of Gatling? And it hasn't actually worked. It's actually given us another Scala example as well. So let's go and try it again. So I'm going to say the previous answer was wrong, and I'm going to give it the same prompt again. Can you rewrite the Gatling code from the previous answer in the Java version of Gatling? Okay, so this is interesting. So it's given us an answer this time in Java, but it hasn't explicitly converted the script, and it has called out that it has limitations between Scala and Java, that it can't actually do it. So maybe this is a use case that needs to come into development or needs to come further down the line. I can imagine if you had some big, huge Scala Gatling script, just converting it to the Java version might not be possible right away. So it's not useless, and it's given us a good idea here of what to do next. So another common use case with ChatGPT and Gatling would be to get it to use it to help you debug your code. So if you've got some code that's just not working, you just don't know why, put it into ChatGPT and let's see if it can find out what the problems are. So I'm here in my IDE and I've got a really basic Gatling script open up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to force a few errors into the script and see if ChatGPT can help identify them. So the first thing I'll do is I'll change inject open. I'll just change that to inject. I'm going to change my protocol down here. I'm just going to say HTTP instead. My scenario builder, I'll just add a typo after it there. Okay, that should be good. So I'm just going to copy this script, head back over to ChatGPT, and my prompt is, can you identify and fix the issues in this Gatling code? And just paste it in the code. Okay, let's see how it did. So it's identified 3 different issues. So it's correctly identified the typo in Scenario Builder. It's also correctly identified that we've used protocols incorrectly and that we should using HTTP protocol. And now it's also saying the code block for setup scn.inject should be outside of the class and inside of a main method. I'm not sure that that's right. So it's given us the corrected version of the code. So again, the protocol builder, that's been corrected. The scenario builder, this all looks correct. So that's good. It gets a couple of marks for that. But then at the bottom in the setup block, this is wrong. It's added this public static void main, and it's putting the setup block into that. That isn't correct. And it's still left it as scn.inject here as well, instead of scn.inject open. It's also given us a statement at the end saying the Gatling Java API is depreciated. You should use Scala API instead. Again, this just isn't right. So this is really interesting to see. It really is not perfect at the moment, and it's just a reminder of how you still really need to know the fundamentals of Gatling. You can't just rely on this as being your replacement. It's here to work with you, and it is going to make mistakes. But hopefully it can learn from its errors. In fact, I'm going to tell it was wrong. I'm going to say your previous answer was incorrect. Gatling Java API is not depreciated. Also, the setup block was in the correct place originally. So I've told it your previous answer was incorrect. The Gatling Java API is not depreciated. Also, the setup block was in the correct place originally! Exclamation mark. And it's apologised. I apologise for the confusion caused. The Gatling Java API is not depreciated. Thank you. However, there are still some issues in the original code, and it's just fixed the 2 issues that it identified previously. The new answer it's given out, it's put the setup block back into the correct place, but it still hasn't correctly identified the inject open typo that we put in. But that's pretty cool. You can actually have a conversation with it. You can have a disagreement. You can tell it stuff. And again, this just emphasises how this stuff is an assistant. It's not your replacement. It's an assistant. You still need to learn the fundamentals. Okay, so this is all good for the HTTP protocol, which is probably the protocol that most users want to use Gatling with. But Gatling does support other protocols as well, so things like JDBC, or something that I've been looking into recently, which is MQTT. So MQTT is used for Internet of Things applications. So I'm not going to go into too much depth for it in this video, but this site gives you a high-level introduction to MQTT and how it works. So you can see here you would stress test your MQTT broker. You have different sensors that either publish messages to the broker and subscribers that listen on there as well and get those messages forwarded to them. So let's say I wanted to write a Gatling test against an MQTT broker, but I had no idea where to start. What would be a good prompt that I could use? So a prompt might be something like this. Using the Java version of Gatling, write a script that can test an MQTT broker. The script should have 1 subscriber who subscribes to a topic and 1,000 publishers who publish messages to the same topic. Let's submit that and see what it comes back with. Okay, let's see what it's come back with. So it's saying here is an example script written in Java that tests an MQTT broker. Now I can see that it's using the Scala version of Gatling again. It's not used the Java version, so that's just something to bear in mind first of all. But the script that it's coming back, you know, it looks pretty decent. It's given us an MQTT config. It's created the subscriber and the publisher. It's repeating the publish 1,000 times as well. So, you know, that's pretty cool for the Scala version. One cool thing that it has noticed is that it said that you need to import the MQTT plugin in order to get this to work. So that's useful to know there as well. I'm not sure if this MQTT plugin version is correct. I think we would have to go and check that. And I do think that only the Gatling Enterprise version actually supports MQTT as well. So that's another thing to bear in mind there. It's also given us a prompt for how we can execute this MQTT test with Gatling as well. Let's see if I can change it to the Java version. So I'm going to say the previous answer used Scala, not Java. And I'm going to say rewrite the previous Gatling example using the Java version. And this time it looks to have worked. So this time it has actually given us the Java version of Gatling. So something to bear in mind, sometimes you have to go back to ChatGPT and ask it to try again. But still, that's pretty cool. That's how to get an MQTT script with Gatling. And that should give you a really good place to start if you wanted to write an MQTT Gatling test. So although we've seen it's not going to write an entire Gatling framework for you, it should give you a good place to start. We've also seen as well that it can give us errors in our scripts, and that is something that we need to guard against and be mindful for. We still need to learn the fundamentals of Gatling if we want to go ahead and create our scripts. Remember, ChatGPT is not going to be a replacement for learning Gatling. You still need to do some learning, but it should still give you a great place to start, and it's really good as just a partner. So again, if you want to learn more about Gatling, I'd highly recommend you check out their documentation. They've got very thorough walkthroughs on there that should get you up and running quickly. I also have a few different courses on Udemy that teach Gatling, and these are for both the Scala and the Java versions. I also have an advanced Gatling course on there as well, where we learn how to write an entire Gatling stress testing framework against a real-world e-commerce application. So do check that out as well if you want to learn more. As always, if you have any questions, just let me know below. But otherwise, see you next time.